southbound. I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I ought to slow down, standing in the pouring rain.
What's going on, guys? Tristan riding solo tonight on the One Hub Life Outdoor podcast. And we got Kade Bidstrup. Is that how it's pronounced? Bidstrup?
Bidstrup.
Bidstrup, okay, aka Biskit, which is where many of y'all are probably familiar with him from if you follow him on TikTok. But man, thank you for taking the time to hop on the podcast tonight. Definitely excited to talk to you. Seems like you guys down in Louisiana get to do all kinds of cool stuff that we don't over here in Georgia. But yeah. Thanks for joining us, man.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, dude. It's a pleasure. I've seen you all over TikTok, so figured
we try, man. We try to get our little goofy podcast out there as much as we can.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, tell everybody, man, just a little bit about who you are, and obviously you're from Louisiana, but what got you in the outdoors and all that good stuff.
So, basically, I grew up deer hunting mostly. Into my middle school years. Like, as soon as I could walk, my dad had me in the deer stand. Like, he was hard at it, mad at him, and then he had to kind of slow down. And then as soon as I was able to walk and understand to be quiet in the deer stand, he brought me in. That kind of continued on. And then my first duck hunt, I was probably 5, and he didn't even let me bring a gun. He's like, "You come to Pecan Island, you just come and sit in the blind." And I think we shot 1 or 2 birds, and it was still fun. It started that interest to the waterfowl side for me. And then I went on a couple more hunts, just sporadically as we were deer hunting. And then I think it was my freshman or sophomore year of high school. My uncle was like, "Hey, I was going to sleep at their house, him and my nanny. And he's like, "Hey, I got an invite to go teal hunting in the morning. Would you want to go?" And I was like, "Well, I don't have anything." He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We got you." I was like, "All right." So we went and we shot a 4-man, and we're back at the house done cleaning birds for 10:30.
Oh, okay. Dude, that's awesome.
Like, ducks in your face all morning, just one of those hunts, like, you get spoiled to it real quick. And after that, it was just lights out. After that, it was just game over. And then I started hunting public land. Oh, dude, it's bad. I still mess with him, or he'll text me, randomly. He'll be like, "How's them pockets holding up?" I'm like, "Dude, don't even start." Like, you already know what you did, Yeah,
that's right.
This year was rough as far as like being able to get out, because like I graduated college in December, but where I worked,
congrats, man. That's awesome.
Appreciate it. They had sent me out to start working, so I was working 6 days a week. And
man,
you can't really scout doing that, so I was just kind of relying on my buddy to go scout for us, and he's working almost as much as me. So it was a tough year as far as staying on birds consistently, but it was still fun.
Oh man, yeah, that's a lot. What'd you go to school for, and what are you doing now?
So I went for business management to a 2-year college not far from the house, and then
nice.
I started an internship. I got lucky, super lucky with that internship at a pipeline company to be a project manager. And the deal was I had to go to school in order to, stay in that intern spot. And then once I kind of talked to my boss, it's like, "Hey, December's coming up, whatever." And he's like, "Well, we got a job that's going to be fabricating pipe here in the yard. So you'll be able to stay close to home, close to school, kind of do what you need to do. But you're also stuck in this job until, the job's over with." So that's what I'm doing now. I'm assistant QA/QC now. So I'm just kind of learning the field side of everything.
Yeah, so they kind of put you were doing the intern side of like the being more in the office, and they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to learn it from the ground up now," kind of thing.
Yeah, so I got to see quite a bit on the project management side. I got to help with a few like weekly reports, just small stuff that you almost couldn't mess up. Like, you'd have to try to mess it up. And
Sure.
They were like, you still got to learn the job. So that's what I'm doing now. It's fun, but it makes it hard to get out,
No, I get it, man. I get it. I can totally relate, because like the last 3 years, it's almost like when I've had like the things can't go like in a row, like when I do sales. So like, when things are going well, then you can take time off. But when they're not, you kind of got to like it's hard to be like, yeah, I want to go take off. And I basically, we moved up to Atlanta a few years back, and we're part of a startup. Me and my dad working together in the commercial cleaning business. And long story short, we're not doing that anymore. We're both moved on to different things. But after that, I had a stint with a different company. So like we're grinding, trying to start that business. And then I go to a new company, I have to prove myself. And long story short, now I'm with another new company that I really like. But I think this coming duck season is finally going to be the duck season where it's like, wow, I got all the time in the world. Sales are going good. Like, because it's just been like the last 5 years has just been like, man, dude, I want to do it more, but you only have so much time and got to take care of the home front,
Yeah, no, for sure. And then this year, the way the weather lined up for me, I got 2 weeks off for Christmas, but it was hot. Like, I mean, it was blazing hot the whole time. Thankfully, I got a couple invites. One of my buddies has a pit blind just north of where we live, and dude, I have never had a bad hunt there. Like their bad hunt is one limit of ducks with 3 people. And I'm like, wow, that's not horrible,
No.
Like, you scratch off 6 birds, but no, dude. We went over there and it was on my birthday. I don't know if you saw that TikTok, but we shot 20 ducks, a lot of spoonbills, but I love a spoonie.
Nice. Me too, man. Hey, me
too. I got one in the freezer right now that I need to do, but no, man, it made it. I got those invites, and it's like, well, I can't pass that up. Capitalize on what I can type deal, and then turn around and try to go hunt public land. It's like, well, maybe I should have went scout.
Dude, that's one thing that I've learned, man. No matter like where you go in the United States, like there's no chance that like me being in Georgia, I could ever come out to your marsh or go out to Arkansas or go to California or wherever it is and have success just like that. Like you really have to spend the time, even if you know it, you got to spend the time to figure out where they are. That's the thing about public. It's like it's nice if you can have it in your backyard and know exactly what's going on, but if not, man, it's a tough game.
Yeah. So how's your Georgia public work? Do y'all is it kind of like a free for all type deal like down here, or y'all got like draw spots or?
It's a little bit of both, but the thing is like there's not that much access for like your just go out and hunt public, and like where there is access, it's usually like on your lakes and rivers and stuff like that. But like, so you got your wood duck holes, but like on the bigger lakes like Lake Seminole, Lake Oconee, Lake Sinclair, like you can get divers out there, but I think the problem there, which I haven't really messed with divers on those lakes, but I think the problem there is like you're battling all the lakeshore like home front places that you got to be a distance from, so that's an issue. And then on top of that, obviously just public land competing with folks out on public, but there's not a ton of opportunity outside of those and your wood duck holes off the rivers and stuff like that. But down on the coast of Georgia, there's more opportunity down there because you got your coastal, you can get into bluebills and redheads, not so much redheads, more like bluebills and buffleheads and stuff like that. And then there's different places that the state will put in like impoundments and stuff like that, which can be hit or miss. Usually like the first split, they could be good. And then after that, pretty much shot out.
Yeah.
But just to answer your question, no, there's not a lot of great opportunity. The lottery hunts are weird because they're quota system, and there's so few of them that like it takes like 7 years to pull these lottery hunts. Like I think I have 6 preference points, so next year I might pull it, but it's crazy. I mean, I'm not really stressing it though. We usually go to Florida or Arkansas to hunt.
Yeah, I made it up to Arkansas this year. That was a doozy of a trip, bro. It was.
Really?
Oh man, we caught a blowout on the way up. We hunted Saturday morning, running about 2 hours of sleep. We were like, you know what? We're gonna go grab lunch, go to Walmart, get some food, cook for the night, and then we were going by a tire for my buddy's trailer because he had a blowout, and the 2 guys we were with pulled out in front of us. My buddy went to pull out, and we got T-boned right in the trailer.
No way.
Oh yeah, dude. We were famous in the Arkansas group. It was a trip, and then the weather ended up not lining up for the place we were going to hunt, so we had to drive another, 3-4 hours south just to hunt the next morning. It was brutal, but it was fun.
My God, dude. Yeah, that's one of those. It's like trauma bonding.
It really was, because it was like, so Saturday, once we made it back to where we were staying or where we were going to sleep that night, I crashed out at like 6:30. I was planning on having like a 3-hour nap and then waking up at 6:30, start cooking, and then take a nap after supper. I fall asleep at 6:30. I get woken up at 7:00, and they're like, "Hey, we got to go. Like, if we're gonna go, we got to go now." I was like,
"Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
Did you guys have to get out there at like 1 a.m. and put the boat in the water at like 2 a.m. type deal?
Yeah. It was. So the first night we got there Friday night, everything went smooth. After the blowout and everything, and fix our food, go to bed. I get woken up at 11:30. Mm-hmm. Now it's 7 guys in our group with 3 boats, and this guy that wakes me up, I have no idea who he is. Like he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Yelling. I wake up, and this dude is 6'5", every bit of 400 pounds, big old beard, like almost like a lumberjack. And I wake up.
My God.
Who are we fighting? I was like, this is not. And turns out he's a guy from South Carolina, and we kind of game planned on how we were hunting the next morning. That way we weren't messing them up. But
sure,
it was fun.
Man, it seems like everybody really had a tough duck season this year. I don't know. I mean, in pockets, of course, like people are going to be successful, but man, it seemed like across the board it was tough.
Yeah. No, a lot of the stuff I saw, late that last week of the season, it got dumb down here.
I was wondering how that would go, man, because I posted a video like talking about that on the podcast, and people were like, there were so many comments where people were just like so heated about that, and I'm like, okay, well, how do you figure that's not going to help your duck hunting situation?
So last year we had that big freeze, but we had a lot more cold everywhere. Like down, where I'm at, I'm like the south central area, so I'm not southeast or southwest. I'm kind of like in the middle of the state, but south middle, if that makes sense. And last year we had like 6 inches of snow.
What's up, guys? If you want coffee that doesn't suck, you probably can guess what I'm going to say. Get the Duck. Dirty Duck Coffee is the official coffee of the One Hell of a Life Outdoor Podcast, and they have a great lineup of different coffee blends, everything from Morning Wood and First Flight to Dark Dynasty and Suns Up, Guns Up. You can't go wrong with Dirty Duck Coffee, and they have a great lineup of cold brew cans, mocha, French vanilla, original cold brew, and cinnamon teal snickerdoodle. If you want 15% off your next order, use code OneHellOfALife15 on your next order.
Everything was frozen, even like the marshes in the coast were frozen. Like my buddy went hunting.
Wow.
They were walking on ice in the marsh.
No kidding.
Like, no kidding. I was like, that is dumb. So what I think happened last year was either all the birds just hovered that line where it froze, like where the freezing stopped up north, where they still had open rivers and stuff, or they just bypassed us, being that we were frozen over and went to Mexico. And this year is completely different. We still had a lot of open water down here. Like all the marshes and everything was open. I mean, some freezing, but not like frozen over to the point you're walking on it. And I had a buddy come down from North Carolina or South Carolina, and I was kind of helping him out. I was like, hey man, like if I'm going to hunt here, because they were hunting similar places I was hunting. And I was like, this is what you need to go look at. Let me know if you need anything. And they whacked them. The Saturday morning, we should have done good. That whole weekend was just me throwing it out on a limb because I had no time to scout and just seeing what happens. The Saturday morning, we lost a bunch of birds. The wind was horrible. Just
getting ripped out with the tide type thing.
Yep. And then the Sunday morning, my brother wanted to go try a spot, and I was like, I haven't hunted with him all year. We'll go see what happens. And that we wasted time. The Monday morning, I was like, you know what? I know where we're going. Should be half decent. And we get to the spot. My buddy's boss calls him at like 8:30.
No
way.
Why are
you not at work?
Oh.
So we had to pack it up and leave. And we had we should have had a 2-man by then. But I left my gun in the truck and he leaves his gun in the truck, which not smart. Turn the heater on, condensation, get in the boat, guns froze. So we get set up that morning, and next thing you know, I go to put a shell in and my chamber will not shut. Press a button, press a release, wouldn't shut. And I'm like, oh man. So I'm sitting there breathing on it. So we had probably 10 birds hit the decoys in between our guns freezing and unfreezing. And shooting 2 after that before we had to leave.
Dude, I've never even thought about that. That's the kind of thing that like you don't even ever learn until it happens to you, you know?
Yeah. No, it was I looked at him, I was like, what are we doing, bro? Like, like dude, it was so bad. It was so bad.
Dude, that's so frustrating. Oh my God. What do you guys, when you guys are hunting the marsh out there, I mean, are you guys having issues with like the tide, or is it pretty consistent? Or, I mean, are you trying to hunt them on a low tide, or what's like the deal out there?
So there's a couple WMAs that are like super tidal. And
Okay.
if you catch them right, there's guys that I know that'll hunt, they'll wait for the tide to go out and they'll run the main cut all the way to the Gulf and they'll hunt sandbars. And they will, like, they do real good. But then you also got the guys that on a high tide, you catch them in the marsh, not, hunting the outside of the marsh, and they crush them too. So it's definitely in those areas, tidal dependent. But then there's a couple NWRs that almost have like landlocked marshes, and those, if they have water on them, sometimes you'll have, a low water year where all your grasses grow up. But if they have water on them, dude, they're usually pretty hot. But I mean, I've seen some straps come out of there that it's like, there's no way you were in Louisiana. Like, those guys found them and just beat on them. So,
what do you normally shoot out there?
This year was a lot of gadwalls. Like last year, I feel like there wasn't as many early, but we got that big front early, and I think that moved a lot of birds down. I'm a big diver guy. I love shooting divers, like canvasbacks. That one, like bread and butter. I love them. But
that's awesome.
Woodies, canvasbacks, really everything, dude. Like we get the whistlers too. A lot of people shoot the black bellied and the fauvelous, or however you say it. So I've never shot either one of those yet. But fingers crossed we get a season next year for those.
Yeah, dude, I saw they were talking about putting in an early season for them. Yeah,
so that's been a big thing down here. People fussing about it. It's like, oh, we want our squealer season, and they finally started. I think they brought it into the USFW or whatever last year, and they kind of started looking at it. And the reason they didn't give it to us was they didn't want people mixing them up with mottled ducks. It's like, well,
they're so different though.
Yeah, I mean, if you're messing that up, you almost got to be trying to mess it up, So,
yeah, no doubt.
But
because we have a similar. I mean, when we hunt like South Georgia or like Florida, it's very similar in that regard. Like our teal season, there's definitely mottleds around, and there's mottleds all year, but there's definitely whistling ducks around during teal season. During big duck or regular duck season, they go over, they go, I guess, down to Florida, but. Yeah, I mean, they fly so slow, they whistle. It's like the fact that like they're almost like not even a normal duck.
Yeah, no, if you mess that up, something's wrong with you. But no, so I've been seeing a lot of videos on the Mississippi River, like in the past they would move out soon as big duck season, you don't see them. The same thing as you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But the past couple years, there's been people like last year during the freeze when it snowed, I saw probably 5 or 10 pictures on social media of just piles of them in the snow.
Really?
That is odd. And this year, later in the season, hundreds of them on the banks of the Mississippi River, by the refineries and stuff, or like the ports, they'll be sitting there on the bank, just hundreds of them.
I saw them on like a ship, a video of them on like some kind of boat. I guess that was probably down there.
Yeah, they had that one. I saw quite a few of them, and it's like, man, if I could find that and just go set up in the river where it's navigable water, making money.
Yeah, seriously. I think so like they're all over Florida and people definitely God, I had to turn my do not disturb on. That was loud as shit. Like blew my eardrum out when I got that text. Um but I think the problem from like talking to guys down there that hunt them a lot is like they almost are like local Canada geese. Like they know, like they'll be on top of houses, they'll be like in people's neighborhood ponds, but like it's getting harder and harder to actually hunt them. Even though like when you can hunt them, they're not hard to hunt. It's just they're getting, I guess, smarter to where they can be safe. You know?
Yeah, they. I know I got a buddy that lives in Southeast Louisiana, and he was sending me videos of his neighborhood. They were sitting, in the neighborhood pond, like all around the bank. And he's like, I'm sitting here watching, 150, 200 whistling ducks, and I see 50 bands. He's like,
No way.
people will do that. They'll like almost like band hunt like a Canada goose.
Huh?
They have my buddies with the blind in Pecan Island. They shot a pile of them last year and didn't even realize it, but they had, I think, 1 or 2 bands in the pile that they never saw. But
Are a lot of them banned just because I would imagine I don't think they leave like Louisiana, right? They just go further south in Louisiana, don't they? Or no?
as
So they're
far
all
as
kind of banded in the state.
yeah, kind of like the mottled ducks, like a lot of mottled
Mhm.
ducks out here.
What's up, guys? Tristan here. If you're like us, you need gear that's going to stand up to the elements and not break the bank. That's exactly what we love about Frog Talks. They just dropped their brand new Oxbow waterfowl series, and let me tell you, this stuff is built for serious hunters who don't want to quit when the weather turns nasty. It's tough, lightweight, and waterproof. Everything you need when you're out there chasing ducks. If you're looking to upgrade your gear this season, head over to frogtalks.com and use code OneHellOfALife Outdoors at checkout for 15% off your order.
They're banded, so that's why people shoot them.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
bird trying to
cool.
recoup its population. But
Right.
I mean, I'm not passing one up. But at the same
Right.
time, it's like, should we? But
Yeah, I didn't think about it. That's kind of a different thing for y'all because, I mean, most of like our duck hunt. So when we got into duck hunting, it was in Florida. I'm originally from Illinois, and so my dad was there for like 40 years, and then our family moved down to Florida. And big deer hunters growing up, but got into duck hunting in Florida, which is like, God, I wish that we got into duck hunting when we lived in Illinois, because especially back then, like in the early mid 2000s, like.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, it would have been awesome. But anyway, just hunting down there in Florida a lot. Mottleds are like one of the big ducks you do kill because it's like really rare to shoot like a gadwall or even like, I mean, you shoot them, they're more common like spoonies, but like it's mostly like teal, ringers, wood ducks, whistling ducks. There's hardly any migratory mallards. I mean, the DNR says there's 0, but people claim they'll shoot them. But I guess if you got gadwall and other stuff pretty common, I mean, it's a little bit easier to pass up those mottled ducks.
Yeah. The gadwalls this year were thick. The pintails this year were dumb.
Really?
I mean, I didn't shoot as many as I would have liked to,
Mm-hmm.
just because there was that many. But we were hunting one morning, and I'm not joking, probably 150 to 200 pintails working at one time.
No kidding.
It was awesome.
Are they like pintails normally are down there? Like just they'll work you a bunch and then you have to like shoot them at 40 yards?
Yeah, so I shot one with a Texas rig guy. He supplies Texas rigs for a big guide in central Louisiana. And
Nice.
He gave us some to try out before he really like tried to launch his business. And he invited me to go hunt his pit blind with him. And we had 2 pintails, right after light. And we're whistling, we're watching them. And finally he goes, dude, if they come close one more time, just aim at the sprig. And I was like, and sure enough, we knocked him down. But oh yeah, they'll circle and circle and circle. And then if it's a cloudy day, they'll hover at 60 and just sit there and do like that. Like I've had mornings, and my buddy would tell you the same thing. Like we sat there and worked 250 pintails one morning, just small groups of 10, 20,
Wow.
30. And we'd work them like you'd see them specks in the sky, and they just come down, and they're just teasing you the whole time. And it's like, oh man, just one more pass. All we need. They don't
Dude,
dude.
they're frustrating.
Yeah. Oh, very. I've said some choice words at a pintail.
My buddy last weekend I'm not a veteran, but my dad and that was part of why he's out there for snow geese, is we were out there. I was just like filming for the vets hunt, and one of my buddies is a vet too, and he was asking me like, "What's your favorite duck to hunt or to shoot or whatever?" And I think I told him pintail, because it's just like when they're so frustrating all the time, but when it does go right and they're just landing all the time, they're so cool. It's almost like too good to be true. They're like majestic.
No, dude, I agree though. Like watching a pintail work and then you do get them to finish, especially in a group of like 5 or more, it's like, all right.
It's like, oh, maybe I'm good at duck hunting, actually. That's funny, man. Well, I see you're posting some stuff about crappie fishing. I guess you're a big crappie fishing guy.
I don't want to say I'm not, because I'm starting to lean towards it. When I was younger, I was ate up with bass fishing. Like that's all I wanted to do. And then as I got older, I was like, started sac-a-lait fishing more with my grandpa. You know, we have a camp in Toledo Bend, so we'd go out on brush piles. We had a few brush piles, and we'd tight line, you know, vertical jig or whatever you want to call it, and we'd do pretty good. And then fishing around here, like once I got my license, we got good bass fishing in the bayous and stuff, but it's not as much as a sac-a-lait. And started sac-a-lait fishing, and I got on them one morning. I figured them out half decent, and same thing as the ducks, just like, oh, I think I know what I want to chase now, you know. But I don't discriminate.
Yeah, if they're biting, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
When you say sac-a-lait, what is that?
That's a crappie.
Oh, okay.
We just call them sac-a-lait down here. They got like 5 or 6 different names over here.
Well, it's funny, like just in, Florida, they call them specks, and I was like, what are they talking about? Like, there's no geese around here.
Yeah, I got a buddy. He same buddy that I worked all those pintails with. He moved from Opelousas to Monroe, and up there they call them white perch.
Okay.
And he got on the phone with me one day, and he goes, "Yeah, we went white perch fishing." And I was like, "Who are you talking to?
Yeah,
like, where are we learning this? You know, just giving him crap for it." But yeah, they got white perch. I think people down here call them crappie. I haven't really heard it as much, but white perch and sac-a-lait are the 2 big names for them down here.
You guys got some interesting names for like all kinds of stuff down there. Like so like what's canoe, like Piro?
Yeah, Piro.
Yeah, and then coots or poodoo, right?
Poodoo, yeah.
Like those 2, I was like, there a couple different times I was hunting with people from Louisiana, and they would say those, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
You look at them sideways, like, what'd you just say to me?
Yeah. Speaking of coots, people like, especially in the Midwest, they're like, you're crazy. You guys duck hunt with coots, but I know a lot of y'all do that down there. Is that something you do?
Oh, 100%. Especially on like your big waters, you know, you get those rafts of coots. You watch ducks land with those coots all day long, and it's like, I might as well give it a shot. If they're doing it with live coots, and you know the rafts aren't formed up yet, if it's early in the morning, then I think it helps, especially
confidence decoy,
and especially later in the season when it's pressured. You know, you throw out a dozen coots on the outside of your spread, and usually it gives them something to look at, and it's, you know, confidence decoy, like you said. So, and they taste good.
Nice. Okay. I've never ate one, but one thing I'm big on is like there's so many people that'll be like, yeah, this doesn't taste good. And I'm like, I don't even believe anybody that says that anymore, because the amount of times I've had stuff that doesn't taste good, that tastes good.
That's like whenever somebody's like, oh, a diver's a trash duck. I'm like, one, you either got a bad one, you know, one that's in the marsh or sitting in a cow pond or something nasty, or you just don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
You know, like whenever we'll shoot coots, and gumbo is popular around here, which I've never made one with a coot, but we shot quite a few this year. And what I did was I breasted them out, and then I just took the breast, cut it up into fajita strips, and then marinated those, or actually salt brine soaked them for a minute just to pull some of that flavor out, and then
Okay.
marinated them in like a taco seasoning, and then threw them in the skillet. And I mean, you couldn't tell no difference from that and a teal, you know.
No kidding. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that next time I get an opportunity. Yeah, it's funny, man. People like I'm with you. I think a lot of it comes down to cooking, because like if you just like overcook something and you're trying to cook it as a steak, or if you uh just fry everything, like I mean, nothing wrong with how you want to eat stuff, but like the amount of times that I've just cooked something like I would a steak, basically medium rare, and then salt and pepper, maybe like cook it in a pan with some butter or something and eat it like a steak, and it's just phenomenal. Like, it's crazy. I mean, even with like snow geese, like people think snow geese doesn't taste good, and I'm like, I mean, it's not the best. It's not a ribeye, but it's not bad. you know?
Yeah. No, that's one of my biggest things is like, if you don't want to eat it or you ain't gonna eat it, why are we shooting it? You know?
Yeah.
Especially with the snow geese. Like, I don't know if you saw at the beginning of the season, they had all that stuff in Canada, when those guys dumping, however many birds it was. It's like,
Oh, yeah, I think I did see that.
yeah, I don't remember what part of Canada it was, but I mean, it snowballed into a big, social media thing with Spencer Lewis and another guy. But it was like, why are we even shooting them if all we're gonna do is dump them?
Yeah. Well, and it's a bad look for the whole hunting community in general, because like the other day, like, and I'm not a big like I don't stir up the pot with people. Like, if I see something stupid, I just keep scrolling usually. But like there was this post the other day of this turkey with its head on a water fountain. You may have seen it with like all this like basically a great shot on the bird. But
Oh, I did see it. I did see that.
I commented on it. I'm like, this ain't it. And then like it got a bunch of likes or whatever. But I wasn't commenting on it just for the likes. The reason I was commenting on it is because people, same thing with the snow goose thing. We are already like every day as hunters fighting an uphill battle with like regulations and losing properties to hunt and losing seasons. And because at the end of the day, like there's a lot of things that make a lot more money for the states. I mean, outside of, maybe like fishing in Louisiana, or like, duck hunting in Arkansas, or deer hunting in Illinois, like some of the other states, like, it's an uphill battle trying to keep what we got. And it's like, why you're supposed to paint hunting in a positive light, and you're just giving ammunition to people that can use that kind of thing to harm the rights you have as a hunter. I feel like.
Yeah, they have enough ammunition as it is. Why are we handing them more bullets?
Yeah.
That's one thing. Like this year, I think I got tagged in probably 10 videos. Me, Dawson, Hook and Holler. I don't know if you know Kevin, the Outdoor Life or whatever.
I don't think so.
I don't know his exact. I'll have to share you one of his videos, but him, and then Jaden and Pombeezy. Every time somebody would see a video, they would tag one of us in it, and then that person, whoever got tagged everybody else, and we would just go in the comments and be like, not bully, but
yeah,
hey man, like, let's be smart, let's do the right thing, not because it's on camera, but just do the right thing, And a couple of them, it was like full, not alive birds, but you could tell they had been shot. Like one of them, it was a wood duck, and it had blood all across its breast, like the top of its breast area. And I'm like, and they're sitting there like playing with it, kicking it around. It's like, come on, man. Like,
yeah.
One, it's unethical. Two, you're just putting us in, like, you're giving people a reason to not like us. Another one on top of things they already don't.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, unethical and just kind of disrespecting the animal. Like, and it sounds like you kind of been raised the same way. What in the world? I thought I turned off freaking do not disturb. Shit is so loud. Do you hear the text when it comes through? Like,
yeah, I heard it.
What in the world, man? It's like blowing my eardrum out. But where was I going with that? Like I was always raised like, even with like a deer, like put the tongue in its mouth and like try to make it look like nice, like if it's covered in blood all over its face or whatever, just like little things like that, just to kind of show respect to the animal in the picture. Which, I mean, that's here nor there. Like, it's not like if you're taking a picture without that, you're not respecting the animal. But just
Right.
little things like that was kind of always been ingrained with me. So I'm with you on the duck thing. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, you want to show respect to the animal, and that's like I'm always big about with the pictures I take too with ducks. Like, I'm more of a fan of like pictures that show off like the plumage and stuff like that, you know, versus which nothing wrong with like just throwing them all in a pile and getting a picture with your buddies. Like, that's cool, you know, but I've always been more of a fan of like trying to show off like even the plumage of the bird because I just think they're so cool.
No, for sure. I shot that spoonie this year. I'll try to pull up a picture real quick and see if I can show it. I actually ended up talking to somebody about it. Ben Pierce. I don't know if you know, if you've heard of him, but
No, I don't think so.
he like breeds and studies hybrid waterfowl. So
No
I shot
kidding.
a picture of the spoonie, which that I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I think I saw you post that.
Yeah, I
something.
posted him because I was like, if somebody's gonna know, it's gonna be somebody on TikTok. But turns out he's like a 1 in 300 plumage, which is still
Yeah.
crazy. But I have like 15 or 20 pictures of him. And then we shot a gray duck in Arkansas that like had the black, not a defined black, but he had that separation in his neck area and that big purple on the side of his head. Got
No
a bunch
kidding.
of him. Oh, dude, he's beautiful. I
Wow,
kind of
dude.
eating him, but
Dude, I've seen one other shoveler like that, and I know like they were thinking it was maybe like a hybrid with like like a fully plumed teal or something like that, but he
yeah.
looked just similar to yours, you know. So that's interesting to hear that. I always wondered what ended up coming of that.
Yeah, so I was kind of not heartbroken because it'd be cool to say I shot a hybrid,
Hmm.
but it's still a cool bird nonetheless. Like that's one thing, dude. Like especially with any full plume bird, but even just like in general. Like if I shoot a
Hmm.
duck, even if it's not full plume, it's like still like the colors you get out of a bird
Hmm.
that isn't plumed out. It's like how in the world is that even possible? It's just
Yeah, I
hard to
know
describe.
it's amazing, dude. And I've always been a mixed bag guy too, because I mean, I just think it's cool, like when you get like six different birds, and like if you get six drakes, like talk. I mean, that's like my dream hunt when those days happen.
Oh, dude, they're fun. Like I'm trying to think. I've had a couple hunts where it's like, okay, we shot a couple spoonbills, couple teal. Uh, Thanksgiving weekend, I went and stayed with my uncle at his buddy's place, and we shot green wing, blue wing, gray duck, uh, and pintails in one hunt. It
That's
was
awesome.
and spoonies, but of course he shot the hen. I was picking up a bird in the decoys. We'd shot one and he was crippled and he swam off. We didn't realize it, and go walk out to get him. And I turn around, I can hear pintail whistling. I turn around and there's a bunch of ducks circling the blind. So I kneel down and I'm watching, and I see him pick up and I see one bird fall. And I get back to the blind. I'm like, "What'd you shoot?" He goes, "A damn hen." Just start dying laughing. And then that same morning, we missed out on a canvasback, which that was my bad. Dude dive bomb from like took the stairways down and just in the
No
decoy
kidding.
on him. Big bull. I was like, oh man. But yeah, mixed
Dude,
bags.
so you kill canvasbacks pretty often, I guess, out there, huh? Or like relatively often?
Yeah, we shoot quite a few.
Dude, that's so sick. That's like I've never even seen someone kill one. Like I haven't even been on a hunt when someone got one yet.
Really?
Yep, never seen it. I've seen them like flying when we were hunting, but never seen anybody kill one.
Yeah. Dude, they are when they do it, they're I don't want to say like a pintail
Hmm.
because they're not. If they're doing it, they're doing it. There's no circling or nothing. Like they're gonna give you one swing and come right in, kind
Hmm.
of like a ring neck. But they're moody. Like I've had
Really?
days where we'll go sit and we could be standing out in the open and they'll come do it. And then there's days where you can't have enough cover. they're just not going to do it. They're moody, but they're fun. They're huge. Like
They're the biggest duck, aren't they? I think.
I would guess, but I mean they're really big.
So when you target divers out there, do you do any calling, or do you do like long lines? Like, what's your setup when you go out and hunt divers?
My favorite way to hunt them is just throwing out a raft. Like if we have prior knowledge of what they look like when they're rafting up, then we'll go do that. And if they're call responsive, like a growl in a mallard call, like you roll your tongue, and we've had them, calling back to us some mornings. It was cool to see.
Cool.
Dude, it was. But yeah, we'll do that. And then if we don't really know what's going on, haven't really seen anything, or we haven't been able to hunt or scout, then we'll go and we'll throw, 3 diver lines and then like a pot of puddle ducks and a pot of puddle ducks, just kind of make it look like a raft, but not a raft type deal. Almost like a long line spread, but kind of mix in between, and then hope for the best.
Yeah. See what happens and go from there. Yeah.
But
do you when do you guys shoot like a bunch of redheads, or what's like the primary? I mean, obviously canvasbacks, but what are the divers you get into?
It depends on where you're at and what kind of migration we get. Like this year, it was a lot more canvasbacks and ringnecks. Last year, there's quite a few redheads. On the coast, though, you get into those WMAs on the coast, a lot of redheads and a lot of canvasbacks. Not so much ringers and a lot of bluebills. You get a lot down there too. And then I know every now and then they'll get big piles of buffleheads.
Nice.
And you kind of get everything down here. It's hard to think about them all, but different places, different birds, but usually you get a little bit of everything.
Nice, man. Do you feel like I feel like Louisiana isn't kind of, I know people have a lot of success, but I feel like there's a lot of people that are frustrated down there with the duck hunting situation, because y'all are obviously at the bottom of the flyway. Do you feel like I guess like do you feel like people are blowing it out of proportion, or do you feel like it's that bad?
Yes and no. You hear the stories from the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, or 90s into the 2000s, and you get those guys like Pecan Island. They used to shoot straps and mallards.
This winter, elevate your outdoor pursuits with Williamson Outfitters, offering professionally guided experiences along Florida's Forgotten Coast. From coastal duck hunting to inshore fishing, every Williamson Outfitters trip is led by a seasoned captain, delivering world-class adventure with true local expertise. From small private groups to large corporate retreats, Williamson Outfitters' fleet of well-equipped boats and experienced guides provide first-class winter outdoor experiences for sportsmen of all ages and skill levels. And for those planning ahead, Williamson Outfitters is already booking spring and summer charters. Secure your fishing, flounder gigging, and family adventure dates now before their calendar fills up. Call or text 850-251-8650 or visit floridaducks.com to reserve your outdoor experience. Williamson Outfitters, making the Forgotten Coast unforgettable.
And specs.
Oh my God.
That was normal. The buddy I was talking about earlier that has a lease down there, he was showing me pictures. They're like good blind year in and year out was greenheads, gray ducks, and specs.
Oh my gosh, dude.
They'll shoot now 10, 15 mallards a year and 1 or 2 geese. And then after that, it's usually all teal and gray ducks, which, you can't complain about that. But when you used to have that, almost all green strap coming out the duck hole, it's like, but at the same time, like this year, you talk about the freeze earlier, we had greenheads, but it was the last weekend of the season, and everybody says weather. Yes, it obviously helps to have the weather, but the amount of mallards, like I did a lot of looking at numbers, and from I think 2004, around that time frame, we had, our best year was 4 million ducks in Louisiana on the January 7th survey, with 100-something thousand mallards in that survey. And you fast forward to 2024, we had 1 million ducks, and
Wow.
18,000 mallards.
Oh my gosh.
So you can see where that, obviously it's the January survey. So you're into the season, second split. You would think you'd have the greenheads down like, the past. So that's where the big corn argument comes up, because it's like, I don't know how you feel about it. I'm kind of I don't
Yeah.
I think it hurts the migration, but it's not the sole cause, but it also like plays a good role in it too. So
Yeah. No, I think I'm kind of with you. I mean, I like ultimately I feel like there's part of me it's like if it's your private land and you want to manage it the way you want to manage it and it's within the current set of laws, like that's one thing, right? But like I get where people are coming from. And also like there's so much more to it. Like I was talking to our buddy Kade, his name's Kade too, but he runs an outfit in Northeast Arkansas called Delta Thunder Outfitters, and his granddaddy guided for Bill Byers Duck Club for years. I think like close to 40 years or something like that, and maybe he spent time with some other duck clubs or whatever. I don't know, but he also farmed a lot, and he was saying back in the day, like the combines would get like or whatever I guess the combines would leave like 25% of the rice crop. They were just so inefficient, and now it's like they leave like less than 7-8%. I think he said it's. I mean, for sure under 10%. So then that's another thing. There's way less food throughout all those rice fields. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rice fields. So there's that. Obviously, the weather. Just water being changed places. Like, it's so nuanced. There's so much to it.
that's so I don't know if you've heard of Flyway Federation, but so they're like Senator Kennedy sent out the I guess letter to the USFW asking for a study on flooded corn, and I know a couple of the guys, real well, and I was talking to him, and I told him I was like, hey, look, like even if this does happen, you got to realize, like, I'm not saying that it's the same thing, because when you compare rice to corn, corn's unharvested, rice is harvested.
Mm-hmm.
You got that waste grain compared to a full crop, pretty much.
Sure.
And I was like, even if you compare apples to oranges there, they're still going to be like, okay, well, they get to hunt over rice. Why can't we hunt over corn? It's like, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to boil it down. That's what it's going to end up being. It's like, that's the chain effect. And at the end of it, it's like, okay, where do we go? Now, it's so back and forth, and so many things go into it that you can't make a definitive answer on it until it's been studied that much, But I do think it needs to be studied, because you look at, harvest numbers don't matter in the population. Who said that? Because
right.
You can't tell me that the amount of outfitters in the Mississippi Flyway alone go out 60 days a year and they're shooting no less than 6 birds. I mean, you have your oddball, crappy outfitters that are just promising the experience type of guys, but then you look at your big guys that are running 2 and 3 groups a day in one blind, swapping in and out, just hammering them day in and day out, just beating on them. You can't tell me that doesn't affect the population, not one bit. And then you look at the amount of hens being shot, and I know everybody's like, oh, hens don't matter, shoot the hens, whatever. And like, if I don't have to shoot the hens, then I'm going to do my best not to. But a dead hen doesn't lay eggs. Another hen can't lay more for her.
Yeah.
A dead drake doesn't fertilize eggs, but another drake can fertilize those eggs for him,
Right.
So that's the way I look at it. And I kind of wish everybody kind of had that outlook. But, if you're legally hunting, then.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. And I don't see how it wouldn't help either. But I think there's going to have to be a number of changes. And like me personally, like I know a lot of people probably don't agree with this, but like me personally as an out-of-stater would rather not hunt. If it was just boiled down to like as an out-of-stater, my opportunities were more limited for the greater good of waterfowl in certain areas. That would be something I'd be willing to trade. And also like the limit, if we go to 4 instead of 6 or whatever. I mean, obviously not popular takes. You can go both ways on either of those things, but like I just look at it from a full like conservation standpoint, and like if I got to give something to get something, I'd rather have more quality than more days staring at the sky. You know what I mean? Even if it's less opportunities, but I don't know. I also get it for people that live and breathe this 60 days a year. I mean, that's their life. So I you don't want to have to change limits and things like that.
Yeah, but it's a resource
Mm-hmm.
that's given to us, and we got to give back to it. That's
the
way I look at it. I'm sure I'm just like you in a way that if I could hunt 60 days a year, I would.
Yeah.
I would wake up 60 days a year at 1 o'clock in the morning and make it happen, whether I'm shooting ducks or not.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody was like, hey, we're going to go to 30-3 for 4 years and see what happens with the population. If it grows, if it doesn't change, does harvest really matter? I'm good with that. Give me 30-3. I may only get to hunt 4 times that season, being that it's 30 days. But guess what? That's 4 hunts I get. That's 12 birds I get to shoot. That's 4 mornings I get to have fun, enjoy what I like to enjoy. And then after that 4 years is up, if it helps, we go back to 60-6, and now everybody's beating on them.
Yeah.
It's a share of the wealth, take care of the resource. And that's the thing, like with the flooded corn, is I've seen studies or things said that's like not biologically supported by a mallard or any duck. It's not a good source of.
It's like eating junk food, right?
I mean, it's a lot of fast carbs, which they need, but it's not high in protein and calcium like, your shells and, your crustaceans that they like to eat later in the year. So it's one of those things, I don't want to say something to make myself look dumb. I'm sure people would let me know if I was wrong, but if we don't have that food, if we don't have the rest areas, if we don't have this, if we don't have that, if we don't have water on the prairies, it's just levels and levels and levels and levels. And I don't think that people think about it whenever they're chasing them. It's like everybody shoot them, everybody wants to murder them. I'm the same way, but we also have to look at it as, are these birds actually reproducing like we're getting told they are? Do we have the numbers they're telling us? Are we taking care of what we're supposed to be taking care of? So many different angles. And I don't have money to cough up like that. I wish I did. I mean, I could put 15 million in the prairies right now if I had it, but I don't. So,
well, what do you think about, and this is another kind of like loaded thing, but a lot of people give Delta and DU absolute hell about, million duck campaign, I'm not seeing the results and just stuff like that. But like, me personally, I have a hard time when people get like, oh yeah, I don't spend any money with Delta or DU anymore, because it's like, okay, well, what else are like, that's the only thing we really got going for us. I feel like you said, none of us have $15 million to go like, hey, let's go help the, put nests and reduce predators up in the prairie pothole like Delta does. It's kind of blows my mind when people get so like one way or the other on that.
So my thing is, especially with DU, when they started in 1935, I guess it was, their mission was bring the ducks back, and they did that. In that time frame that they, started and kept their mission, they did what they were supposed to do. They were DU, they made the ducks better. But I feel like in recent years, the past 20, 30 years, they've kind of stepped away from that outlook and just kind of started focusing on, okay, what can we do to look good? and still making the money. And that's where a lot of people, like, especially down here, Louisiana was like the largest contributing state to DU for, 5 years, however long it was. And they did projects down here. They do put money into the state. I can't take that away from them. They do it, but it's not to the extent that people wanted to see. It's not the ROI that we wanted to see.
I
And
see.
when you look at the numbers from 2004 to 2024, you see that 3 million duck drop, and it's like, okay, why are we investing so much money into the Midwest when your coastal regions are disappearing? Not even in Louisiana. Like, you look at Mississippi, I don't even know if Mississippi's a coastal state, but you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Alabama, Florida, you get all these coastal states, Texas, we're all losing land.
Mm-hmm.
Coastal erosion's happening, and it sucks. But you don't see that ROI. And then you look at the prairie potholes, it's like, we've had droughts for 10 years now. Why have we not fixed that? Why have we not artificially flooded them? And I can't critique them because I don't have the money to do it. I don't know what they're thinking. But from the outside looking in, that's what it looks like. You give credit where credit's due. They know what they're doing. They do a good job when they put money into a place. But do they keep it up? Are they trying to genuinely make the population better?
Yeah.
So I see why
that's fair points. Yeah.
I see why people give them that, oh, I'm never giving the money to DU ever again and all this stuff. Delta, I haven't done a whole lot of, looking into because they're not as big of a name as DU. But
I think Delta, more of what Delta focuses on is more like up north in terms of like predator reduction and, trying to monitor like hen mallards laying eggs and just, stuff more so up there. I don't know how local they get in terms of like projects, but I know they do like, and I don't know what DU does in terms of this stuff, but they do programs with like local colleges and stuff to get people into hunting at least, where like they'll go in and like this one here did a program with Kennesaw State, and I think they did like an early goose hunt or whatever. But it was just like random kids from the college that like got an opportunity to go out and go hunting and learn about it. So I know they do some stuff like that. I don't know if DU does anything like that, but Delta is definitely way smaller than DU in terms of their national reach.
Yeah. No, they definitely have a couple projects. I don't know if they've done any work down here, but I do know they have their banquets, looking for donations, which I don't blame them. I have a DU banquet every year that is no joke, pretty much next door to my house. Nice. So I go, all my buddies are there. We all go visit, look at all the stuff for the year, listen to people talk. It's fun, free drink, free food. So it makes for a good night. But at the same time, you're sitting there and you're like, where's the ducks?
Yeah.
And you go on Facebook and you see people getting irate with one another because you get guys from the Midwest that are like, oh, it's the weather. And then you get the guys down here like, bullshit, it's not the weather. back and forth. And it's like, why don't we take a step back as a human population?
Yeah.
And look at like genuine numbers, look at the studies, look at the snowfall, look at the snow cover, look at what changed from 1998 to 2026. What happened? What's the differences? Let's start looking at all that. And that's another problem is the I want to shoot ducks. No one else can shoot ducks.
Yes, 100% the ego there.
Good. I get it. Everybody's going to have competition. I want to go out, look good, shoot ducks, eat good, have fun. But at the same, like it all circles back into giving back to the resource. And nobody has the ability to shorten their ego to the point that they want to do that. And I think that, you hear social media is killing waterfowl. Yes and no. Because then, you look and you get guys like Dawson, Jaden, those popular voices in the waterfowl world that are like young kids connect to them. I may not know what I'm talking about, genuinely. Like if somebody's like, "Hey man, you don't know what you're talking about," like, okay, teach me. I want to learn about it. But I feel like the younger voices have started to kind of come up toward the conservation side of everything and toward the ethical side and the, almost painting a new light compared to what it used to be.
Yeah.
Way. And I think that's a good thing. But at the same time, you get the bad side of social media, which everything's a double-edged sword in this. And it's one of those things,
Yeah, man. No, I totally agree. And it is really refreshing to see folks like Dawson and you and other folks on social media that are putting out a good message about just not only just conservation, but all kinds of different things with hunting, ethics. And one of the things like me and my dad I've always felt real fortunate about, and like we talk about a lot, is like we call it like the reality of hunting. And that's kind of like why we even do a podcast or why we even do a YouTube or whatever, because the fact of the matter is most of the time, like we're not shooting massive deer. You're not shooting, limits of ducks. And like my dad brought up a really good point when we started like harping on all this, like 5 years ago when we started everything, like people like young kids on Facebook Marketplace that like obviously have brand new gear and like they're selling it. It's like, why are they selling it? Because they got into it expecting to see what they see on YouTube or see what they see on, Outdoor Channel. And it's not that right off the bat. And then they're like, oh, screw it, I'm done hunting.
Yep.
And I think messages like what you guys do on social media, what we're trying to do with the podcast, like I think steps in the right direction. I don't know if it's the end all be all, but the more people that can do that, the better, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And that the whole, you're not going to shoot a limit every time. That is a great point, because you look at guys on social media, these cats are hunting 60 days out of the year and they're showing you 30.
Yeah, that's a fact.
They're not showing you all 60. I promise. There's like one person I can think of off the top of my head, and that's Greg Halterman. And he posts a picture of a duck every day during duck season, and he whacks them. But realistically, if you got a guy that's public land hunting 60 days out of the year, he's not banging on them 60 days out of the year.
Yeah.
It's not possible. Not on public land. Because you get those guys that run in the hole or run in the raft after shooting, after everybody's supposed to be off, bump those birds around when they're not supposed to be. Things change, weather patterns happen, So when you're looking at social media, it's like, okay, I see piles of greenheads, I see piles of widgeon. Where are they? You get into it, you're like, oh, I don't see that. I'm shooting ringnecks all the time. It's like,
right.
Enjoy what you got. You're going to learn. You got to give it time. You're going to figure it out, it's with anything in life, you're not going to be an NBA player or an MLB player out the womb. You got to build that. And some guys just have it. Some guys have that touch. Like they can go cast a line and catch a fish in a ditch. And they turn around and go shoot their 4 mallards every morning. But not everybody's got it like that.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. I thought you brought up a good point a minute or two ago too about people not wanting to look at like the research of things to form opinions and like make decisions and stuff like that. And I'm really big on that too, because like we've had, Brad Cohen, who runs Cohen Wildlife Lab. He puts, I'm sure you've seen some of the stuff. Then he puts some phenomenal data out on what these mallards are doing. They got like 300 of them GPS tracked. And we had them on a couple of years ago, and they were talking about all this study they were doing in terms of like stirring up refuges, because people were like, oh, outside looking in, I get it. All the ducks are sitting on the refuge. That's why we can't kill any, because there's a refuge or whatever. And they purposely have gone into those refuges and like drove 4-wheelers, shot shotguns, did everything they could do to stir these ducks up out of these refuges, why people were hunting. And he said like the first 5 or 10 minutes, there's some shooting around the refuge. But after that, it's almost like what happens if an intruder came into your house. Like, you're not going to just go run around your house. You're going to find like another corner of the refuge to go hide in your closet or whatever. And that's really, just one perfect thing, a common misconception. They've actually found that refuges are a way net positive because you have birds in the area, so it's just one of those things that there's real data that they've put out on this stuff, but then you get the people that are like, oh man, that we're not shooting any ducks because they're sitting on the refuge and comfortable. They need to switch the refuge up. But yeah, that might work for a week, but then they're going to find the next new place to sit, I don't know.
Down here, I feel like the birds adapt to pressure so much quicker than they would, in the north. Because you see guys that'll go hunt the same feed 2 and 3 times. But down here, there's so much more. You don't have the dispersion of them. Those birds aren't sitting on so many different fields. And every rice field in the state has a duck blind on it. And then you turn around in the marsh, there's a few places with refuges in them, and this year, the morning after opening weekend or the morning after opening day this year, I got to hunt with work. I could only hunt the Sunday. So I get out there, me and my buddy are hunting, and about 9:30, I look behind me. There's probably 20 or 30,000 ducks get up off the refuge, and they go right back down. It wasn't a get off the feed and go look for something. It was I'm going to get up and go right back down. They knew where they were safe. And that's the day after opening day. That's not, mid-season when everybody's done shooting them. So
jeez, man.
They do that, and then you get the people that, in some places where there isn't so much restriction on the refuge, they'll go run through it. It's like, why are you doing that?
Right.
You're bumping them out. Especially when you run directly through them. Like, you're not just jumping them up from 300 yards. You're running a gator tail right through the middle.
That's crazy.
Taking a video like, oh, look, there's no ducks in Louisiana. Well, guess what? Now there's less. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, they're going on wherever they're going. They're not coming back there.
No. But, no, we actually, I want to say we got a few new refuges on a few different WMAs this coming season, and I posted a TikTok about it, and somebody was like, oh, that's not a good thing, they're just going to sit on the refuge. And I was like, well, those birds have to leave that area sometime. It ain't going to have everything they need, and my way of thinking is, okay, if you don't want them holding the refuge that tight, what we'll do is we'll have quota hunts, 1 a week. You go, you draw, you get 1 blind, 1 person gets drawn, and the rest of you got to go fight for it on the WMA. Let them shoot their limit, max of 3 people. Have a game warden with them, make sure they're not pulling any dumb shit, and not bump the birds out, but give them a little bit, just that little nudge just to stir them up, to get them questioning, is this the place to be? And it's not going to push them out as much as running a boat through a wood.
Sure.
It's minimal pressure. It's what guides are good at. That's why they shoot the piss out of them.
Dude, that's actually I think it's a good idea. Not just for like you said, keep the waterfowl guessing a little bit, but also like just as a cool opportunity. I think that would be cool. Especially for if it's tough duck hunting, and then you randomly are lucky enough every few years to pull that. You get to look forward to it.
That would, even if you're like, oh, well, we can't keep up the refuge. $5 an entry. Guess what?
Yeah.
You make $500 a morning.
Yeah.
Like that all goes back into that refuge for the next year. And it's like, there's ways to go about it, but I feel like a lot of state-ran wildlife agencies just don't cut it,
No, 100%. They're understaffed and under budgeted, and they're trying to fix a problem with one hand tied behind their back, or fight with one hand tied behind their back a lot of times. And like with the refuge thing, it's like, okay, yeah, the perception is they're all sitting there, but it's like you said, they got to go somewhere. And if there's 100,000 ducks sitting there, let's just assume that maybe like 5,000 of them are stupid, you know what I mean, or young birds or whatever. Like that's the net positive there. 95,000 of them aren't coming off of there, but if you got a refuge here and a refuge here and a public land spot here, and they're bouncing back and forth at some points, then maybe you're catching some. I don't know.
Yep.
But
No, I
I
give
don't know, man.
WF plenty of slack on I talk a lot of noise about them on TikTok. You know, whenever I see something that I'm like, that's dumb as hell. Why are we doing that? You know,
Yeah.
some people don't agree with me. Is what it is. The way I see it, you know, you're a state-ran agency. If you need help from the people, I should not be
Yes.
arrested for going try to make a WMA better. And I'm not even
Right.
talking about going like bait or anything. You know, just genuinely like, okay, I see a ditch here that needs to be dug out. Like, if I make improvements, I get a ticket. You know,
Yeah.
I can't go cut a trail down, you know, somewhere in the woods. I get a ticket. It's like that opens up the woods a little bit, makes access easier, number one. Number two, I'm not disturbing the animals come hunting season. Number three, if you need help, ask the people for help. Like I made a video a while back, was like if a company came to you and was like, hey, we're gonna have like this big festival, you know, I'm sure if I talked to 3 or 4 companies in Louisiana, it was like, hey, we got this plan, you know, wet birds, whatever, wet birds work day. Like we're gonna pick a random WMA in the state, go to the parking lot, set up, you know, your booth, have somebody cater food, whether it's free or we got to take in donations to do that, and then have an agenda for the day. Trash pickup, land improvement, you know, plant some type of forage for waterfowl or deer, you know, kind of whichever way we can go. I would love to do that.
I think it's a freaking great point, dude. And I've thought that same thing with, like, we had the Georgia biologist on for waterfowl, and I think I brought up something similar to her about like helping, you know, and like even if it's, I mean, duck hunters. I mean, there's a lot of us that are like balling on a budget, but at the end of the day, like, if I mean, even if it, I don't even know, throw a number out there, but if it was $100 or whatever, that we knew that so and so is planting millet and this whole, they're burning it, they're planting new millet, whatever, they're flooding it correctly, like, and we saw direct results of that, and our WMA is like, people would contribute, you know, and people, I mean, there's probably people that have farm equipment that would get in on it, you know. I think it's a great point.
And that's, like I mentioned, that alligators down here, which is complete turn from the waterfowl, but our alligator population is ridiculous.
Oh man,
dude, it's awful. You know, I've gone frogging some nights, and I shine a light. I can count 50 to 60 alligators within 300 yards of the boat. As far as I can see, I can count alligators all night long.
Oh my
it's
god!
Like, why are we not issuing 1 to 2 tags per person? Like, if you have a valid hunting license, why can you not issue a tag, even if it's $40 a tag?
Right.
You get $40 of alligator meat off of a good sized alligator. You know, why
no
not
doubt.
do it? It's
you can only hunt them on private, right?
Was that?
You can only hunt them on like private water, right? Or like private areas.
They have lotteries for public land. Like you can enter a lottery, and I think you get like 5 tags, maybe. And you have to pick a region of the state where you want to try to hunt them, and they issue so many tags per region. Now, as far as like buying alligator tags every year, like commercial fishing, I want to say you have to be a landowner in a specific region in order to get, like, I don't know if you've seen Swamp People, but like those guys have land in those regions on the water, whatever. So they're able to get X amount of tags. They have all their licenses, but you don't even have to do away with that. You just $40 a tag for the season. You shoot 1 alligator in September per person. Not everybody's going to shoot an alligator. Some people might not even buy the tag. I mean, it's frustrating when you think about it. Alligators.
Yeah,
we can't hunt hogs. Like, if you're going to public land hunt hogs, there has to be an open season for something.
Damn, so you can't just go out and go after hogs?
Nope.
Well, you know, one thing, so I work with a guy called, his name's Jared Serenay. He runs the page Outside the Levees. I work with him on some social media stuff. And he we've been posting a ton of content on his pages of nutria, and my God, the amount of nutria, and then also like I had no idea the damage that they cause. Because I didn't realize until I researched this stuff. Like they literally go in, eat all the freaking plants that are holding the marsh together from the roots, and then there's nothing to hold that marsh, and then just, you know, what I forget the word. What's the word for when, you know, water washes stuff away? I can't think right now.
Erosion.
Erosion. I kept wanting to say evaporate. But those
Yeah.
two, you guys got those bad too, huh?
Yeah. I wish I was closer to them, and I wish I had the time, because I've seen people. I've got buddies. I got buddies that do everything. I go to work.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I hear you, man.
no, they go out, they have a good time, shoot nutria, and then you get $5 a tail for them. I don't know if you still get that, but I want to say you do.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it. If it's a certain length, I think like 6 inches or something.
Yeah, I mean, let it eat. I wish LDWF, because I guarantee money, you put a post out on Facebook, this WMA at this time, bring a thermal, shoot as many pigs as you can. Send one wildlife agent at the gate, or one per area in the WMA, just to watch and make sure people are being legal. Not shooting deer, not shooting rabbits, shooting strictly pigs.
Yeah.
Go wipe out the population. Wipe them out.
Go lay them down. Go lay them down.
Same thing with the nutria. Bring a thermal on a 22 and just start shooting.
Yeah, I know. They're harming the local, and people get up in arms. Hunters don't really, but I think the perception from anti-hunters and just general population is like up in arms about mass genocide, essentially, of a population. But the fact of the matter is everything else that is native to the state is suffering because of hogs, nutria, whatever else is invasive.
It's not only the animals either, the humans too. Like you think about all the coasts that we've lost, and I don't know how true this study is, but like 50 years from now, the Gulf's going to be 20 miles from the house instead of 100, So, how many houses does that wipe out? How many people does that put in a bind? How many people have to leave the state, and how does that affect the economy? You look at the coastal erosion in southeast Louisiana and look at the fish market down there. There's, change in markets down there commercially. What does that do to the local economy? How does that hurt businesses? How does that change the statewide economy, because people are having to go out overseas for their seafood products? It trickles down. It's all, and I guess a lot of people don't see that, or they don't want to see it, or they see it and don't care. And I get worked up about it because I feel like I'm just an ant and I can't do anything. Like I'm just here working and I can't do anything. And best I can do is just talk about it. Hopefully somebody that's got a lot more money than me wants to help, But I mean, that goes.
Yeah, man. No, I totally agree.
I was talking to a buddy of mine that he runs Flyway Connections podcast.
Okay.
They did a study, or somebody did a study up in Arkansas. Stuttgart was bringing in $1 million a day at their peak.
No kidding.
The local economy, people going to eat after hunting, or going fill up gas, or going buy energy drinks. $1 million a day.
Wow. That's crazy. That's so much money.
Like, how much does that prop up the economy? How much does that help the farmers in the area? People have money to spend.
Right.
So, like, that was
that's a great point.
It's like duck hunting does good. Hunting does good. I bet if you pulled the numbers from Stuttgart at its peak to Stuttgart now, which it's more of a tourist attraction, but, those numbers probably drastically changed from your local mom and pop shops making a lot of money to now you're seeing your big box stores. It's a different culture now. And is it good? Is it bad? It's hard to tell.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing for, out of staters, it's like from the state standpoint, it's like there, while we're talking about earlier, like, okay, from my perspective, like going to hunt Arkansas, like if I was limited on how much I could go there for the greater good of the whole waterfowl picture, I would be okay with that. But at the same time, the state's looking at it like, hey, we're making X amount of money from people coming in here. And Louisiana, it's probably, you're fishing, and Florida's for sure fishing, but the coastal states, the fishing, the hunting, all that. It's a bunch of revenue to the state.
It's a lot. I think in licensed sales in 2024, Louisiana brought in like $62 million. Like from
Wow.
all the license sales, taxes, stuff like that, like $62 million. I mean, that's a buttload of money.
Yeah.
I mean, that props up the economy, I would think, pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially being a short amount of time in the year. But
I'm curious if you guys are running this in Louisiana. I would imagine it'd be much less than Florida, but like one of the things Florida runs into is like so much of what generates their money is all around the fishing, that the hunting always gets put on the back burner in terms of where the money gets spent that's generated through Pittman Robertson and the sales of all that stuff you just mentioned. Like it's one of those things where it's like, would they rather manage a lake for bass fishing, or manage an area for redfish, or whatever they do for saltwater stuff? Like, would they rather manage it for that or manage it for ducks?
well,
The fishing.
the thing with here is the coastal erosion is so bad that but it builds up both. When you think about it, the aquatic grasses that a bass likes, a duck eats, similar things or whatever. But like it kind of goes hand in hand. Like we have the Atchafalaya Basin down here, and we have invasive grass, giant salvania, which is awful. But they started spraying to kill it, which is a good thing. But the byproduct of that is like they kill all the hydrilla,
Yeah.
and then they drain out the basin. Like they open the locks, and that drains it out to where there's nothing left because they don't want invasive grasses growing, whatever. And now you're killing off all the hydrilla, all the grasses that grow, aquatic grasses that grow, and now your fish don't have nowhere to go, and your ducks don't have nothing to eat.
Right.
So it's a win-lose situation there, and I wish there was a way to figure that out, but I don't know, how much you can do about it, because you have to get rid of the salvania, but at the same time, are you hurting everything else?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think they run into a lot of that same stuff down there. And I mean, even areas that are like, 'cause I know a lot of those lakes in particular, like after a certain amount of time, like it's good for the natural, like, and you see it in like your moist soil areas, but it's good when they have the years that are more of a drought, because then the seeds and whatever process takes place with the seeds and stuff like that, they bloom really well, and then you get good flooding again, and then everything's on like Donkey Kong. But like these places that are like managed under the same water level forever and ever and ever, then over time, if I'm understanding correctly, back to like, I also might not know what I'm talking about, but like over time, like those plants that were growing there don't grow there anymore. That's a whole different issue I think they have too. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean it definitely, like I said, it's a lot of levels. And
Yeah.
your boy went to school for 2 years for business management. I am in no way a doctor in this.
Uh-huh.
Just kind of calling it how I see it. I think there's a lot of things that we could change. I think there's a lot of things that the state could change, the country could change as far as, the outdoors goes. It's a big circus, and we're just the animals in it. We're just doing what we can.
That's a good way of putting it, man. Before we get out here, so tell us about the wet birds, man. Where did that come about? And tell us about your brand.
So Wet Birds was a 10:30 at night text from my buddy Dawson. I'm not joking. It was like a Wednesday night. He's like, let's start a company. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, I'm game, but like, what are we thinking? He's like, I don't know. I just want to duck hunt the rest of my life. I was like, I'm in. So we started. It was me, him, his brother, and his cousin. And his brother got busy, and he kind of like backed out. And it was us three. You know, his cousin was more just kind of paying us, almost like giving us money just to get stuff done. And it was like, we appreciate it, but like you're not putting any effort into it. So we kind of separated ways with him. And then Dawson ended up, I graduated, and then Dawson switched schools. So he had a lot going on personally. And I was like, text him one day. I was like, hey man, like, I'm not kicking you out. This is not what's happening. You know, take a step back, figure your life out. I don't want you coming into this thinking we're going to be millionaires tomorrow. Like, I want you to have your life figured out. I want you to do good in school. I want you to finish your year playing sports, you know, have fun, live a little. And then whenever you get out of that, you know, you have the time and the effort to put into this, come back. So I ended up bringing a buddy of mine on. He's a welder. He had a bunch of time. I had a bunch of time. And we started doing a bunch of shows around here. It was fun. Met a bunch of people. And then we kind of died off. Like, he got busy. I got busy with work and school, and it just kind of fell out. And then Dawson texted me one day. He's like, hey, am I still in? I was like, I told you you wasn't out. But, like, dude, are you still in this, you know? He's like, yeah, I'm in. I was like, all right, let's do it. So then it was me and Dawson, and then I brought in another buddy that, you know, I hunted with him. We deer hunted a lot when we were younger. We lost contact, and then we got back in touch, you know, a couple years ago. And we've been hunting us three together, and we're trying to figure out the whole YouTube side, because when we started, it was let's get hats made, let's do this, let's do that, let's offer a product, but we have nobody that knows us. Like, nobody knows who we are. Nobody knows what we're about. We don't have a personality out there, you know? And I was like, we got to start filming. I have no idea what I'm doing. None of us do. None of us are tech savvy guys. Like, we all grew up hunting. You know, we play the video games every now and then. And so we put out a video last year, tried staying consistent with podcasts. It's just so difficult with the time we have. And then this year we got quite a few videos, but I haven't had the time or the knowledge to sit down and edit everything. So it's kind of all sitting on my computer. I just haven't put it together. And dude, it's been a journey. Like, I wouldn't call us a successful business, but you know, we have a small following on TikTok, a small following on Facebook and Instagram. And it's been, you know, we quite literally started out buying a dozen hats with the change out of our pocket. So seeing where we're at now, it's like, okay, we've done a lot of growing, not only as a company, but like as friends and as people. So that's the Wet Bird story pretty much. I don't have a hat on. Shout out Dawson.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's been a treat.
Well, I can relate to you a lot, dude, honestly, because me and my dad, like, we started what we started doing was like content first, because we were like, all right, let's just like hammer the content, just keep hammering the content. And because, you know, like, same thing with merch, like, and people are like, hey man, send me a hat. And I'm like, dude, I'd love to, but like, I have to pay like $21 a hat to get like the leather patch and everything else. Like, it's not like I can buy 1,000 of these and like, you know, really get to a good point where I'm like making a profit. Like, basically what I'm making is just for like friends who want to support or whatever to wear our stuff. So like, we've kind of always been kind of scared of the merch stuff because it's so hard. And we're like, well, maybe if we get the following there one day to, you know, if we ever have 1 million viewers or whatever, then maybe we can kind of work that way. But like with the content stuff, we started with just literally iPhones and GoPros, and like, and it's just been a constant, like, you know, 3 years ago. So we've been doing this for, I guess, 6 years, like 5-6 years creating content. But then it was like, let's get a couple more GoPros. And then it was like, okay, this year we're getting a good camera. And then we're like, okay, that camera sucks. Now we got to get one that films 4K. So then that's like what we got 3 years ago. And then we did that for a couple of years. And then this year's new big thing was like, I got to get a freaking laptop so I can be editing stuff on the go. And, you know, then you learn a little bit about Adobe, and it's just like, and on and on and on, just a little bit at a time. But like, as you mentioned, like, we're all just average people. So it's like, you're trying to pay your car payment and pay the house or whatever. So it's just like essentially when you can afford to buy something else, you kind of do it incrementally. So I can really relate to your story with that, and I think the most important thing, like if this is even helpful, like I feel like the stuff that takes the least amount of time, that's the most authentic, gets the most views, which is your TikTok. You know what I mean? Like that's your TikTok to a T. I think that's versus like spending 10 hours trying to edit a video and then you put it up and yeah, it might get a million views, but 9 times out of 10, 100 times, actually take that out, 99 times out of 100 probably it's not going to do that. So then it's like, what if you spent 10 hours creating TikToks or YouTube shorts or whatever,
Yeah.
Seems like it works out a little bit better.
No, I really try to, like, whenever I was making, because with work, dude, I've slowed down so much on social media, but whenever I was making, 5 to 7 videos a day, I'd quite literally walk outside at night. If I was letting Banjo out to use the bathroom, it was walk outside, let him out, think of something while he's taking a dump, walk, film and go to bed, wake up in the morning, knock out a couple videos in the same way and just, keep hammering it like that. And that's like the more real you are talking to the camera, the better conversations you get, the better people you meet. Like, I feel like if I wouldn't have, because me and Dawson and Jaden and Pombeezy, we talk every day. If I wasn't Biskit, like if I didn't just get on the internet and say whatever I was thinking, I wouldn't have those relationships, or even the following that I have. And I feel like that's what a lot of people don't get on the social media side is that like authenticity. It's like,
yeah,
I shoot divers. So what? I have a hell of a time doing it. I'm not the world's best duck hunter. I'm going to tell you what helped me, but that's like everybody sees the green heads and the pile pictures and the highlights and all that. And I feel like that's what duck hunting's missing is the real truthfulness to it,
Yeah. Well, and I honestly it's funny because like I can sit here and like talk on a podcast for like an hour and a half, but like it's so much harder for me to like put that camera in front of my face and like make just a video talking about whatever. And I have a lot of respect for you guys that are like have done that. And I would imagine, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, it's just a repetition thing, huh?
In a way, yeah. I mean, the first because I had an account before this one that I didn't do any talking, just kind of like clips and stuff. And then I got this one. I was like, I'm going to try the fishing side. And I fished, filmed it, put it on TikTok. It was a lot more work. And it felt more like a highlight reel. And then one day I was like, what? I'm going to talk about duck hunting. I started talking about duck hunting. It just kind of built from there, But you do also run into an area like where I'm at now. It's like, I don't know what to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't talk about everything, I feel like at a certain point, Dawson's done a really good job of it. Is like keeping himself interesting.
Yeah.
I go to work and I talk on TikTok, there's not much more to it, but I'm still going to keep posting because I still have people that enjoy watching me. And I like, if you would have told me 3 years ago, hey man, you're going to have a small following on TikTok, I'd look at you and be like, you're lying. It's so surreal when you think about it that like 15,000 people know who I am, and it's truly a blessing, like the biggest blessing. So it's awesome.
That's super cool, man. Super cool. I mean, my dad always says like, even, and not even that, like, I think on Facebook we got like 2,000 and Instagram we got like 12,000. Our biggest thing's TikTok or whatever, but my dad's like, yeah, but imagine if like you were hanging out with 1,000 people, you'd be like, wow, that's pretty damn cool. I'm like, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. 1,000 people know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. I totally agree. And I think, speaking of Dawson, so I've actually had Dawson and your boy Pombeezy on the podcast too.
Yeah.
Over the last like 6 months or whatever. But Dawson, I think what's really cool about his content is just like the mental health that he promotes, the the God relationship that he promotes. Like he does it's really unique and refreshing to see all of that stuff that he does too.
Yeah, no, the mental health thing, I've touched on it a couple times, just because there's a few things that, I'm not comfortable with putting on the internet. I know he hasn't shared his full story. I haven't really shared mine, but I also feel like my outlook on it is a little bit different. He's a lot, softer, not in a good way, the way I look at it is like, you still have to wake up every day, like it's more or less the people counting on you as far as, suicide goes. Not a straight shooter, but a straight shooter. Like, you got to live life. Everybody goes through a tough time. Everybody struggles. Don't feel bad reaching out to people at all. That's not what I'm getting at. But like, I feel like that's what got me through my struggle, was like, just keep pounding at the hammer and everything will figure it out, but at the same time, I feel like you need both of those. And I just don't feel comfortable going that route,
Yeah.
Personally, it's a weird thing to talk about. Like, this is the first time I've ever really like extensively talked about the hardship side of life. But there's been times where, it's not the easiest, and I'm sure everybody feels that way. But, if you get to the point, reach out. If it's me, if it's the podcast, if it's whatever, reach out to somebody. We want to see you.
That's a good point, man. I'm glad you're saying that, because honestly, like, who knows? I mean, there could be somebody listening to this podcast that, is in that headspace right now. So that's good.
But a lot of people love you. A lot of people are counting on you. And there's a lot of people that would take the shirt off their back to give to you, to keep you here just one more day. At the end of the day, you have to wake up tomorrow, and you just got to give it one last shot. It's like fishing. You give it one last day, and that last cast lasts for about 3 hours. Or hunting, you need to see one more duck. Next thing you know, that all day. So you give it that one little bit, and you never know what's going to happen. Life can change like that, whether it's good or bad. So live life, enjoy it, and have fun.
It's funny you say that. We had a pastor out of Colorado on the podcast like last episode, and his company is called Just One More. And the reason he called it that, because obviously, like, from him being a pastor, the way he looks at things, like, God was always like just one more, going after the one, not the 99 kind of thing. But how many times in the outdoors is it just one more? And here you are saying just one more in the outdoors, just one more day. It's funny you bring that up just right after we had him on.
Yeah, no, it's one more day. Just give it one more day. And if something good doesn't happen, give it one more day. It's a building block, but life's going to life. And you got people here that, want to talk to you. So don't forget that.
Absolutely, man. Well, dude, thank you so much. It's been a blast just getting to talk to you and know you a little bit through this podcast, and definitely would love to connect again, maybe sometime next duck season or whatever. But looking forward to it, because if we just connected, like, I just started seeing your stuff within the last like 2 or 3 months. So definitely excited to follow along with your journey, and hope that, the wet birds thing continues to do good, and y'all have a good summer out there doing whatever you do in Louisiana, chasing crappies and whatever, hogs, hopefully.
Yeah. But I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
absolutely.
I never would have thought I'd be sitting on a podcast, people I don't know, but I'm glad I am. It's been a blast. We'll definitely stay in contact, though. I definitely want to try to get you and your pops down here, shoot some ducks or something.
That'd be sweet, man. Yeah, we need to make a trip to Louisiana at some point to go hunt with our boy Jared that runs outside the levees too. So one of these years, when we do that, we'll definitely try to make something happen. That'd be cool.
Sounds good, boss man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Be good. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on a midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.